Hi guys, okay then, so I'm Henrik, I'm a Norwegian, and I'm going to react to BOYINABAND Don't Stay in School. I don't really know what to expect. This is quite old, is 5, 6 years old, and is blowing up again. Apparently. I've got a lot of this in my feed. So yeah, I don't know what to expect. Uh, Personally, I think school is great, but let's see what Boyinaband's message is.
I wasn't taught how to get a job, but I can remember dissecting a frog. I wasn't taught how to pay tax.
Okay, yeah, I see where this is going. So Boyinaband, well, I'm not completely sure, but I think I know where this is going. There's a consensus, at least over in Norway, but I guess around the world, this is a problem, that school schools teach you science and maths and or all these things that one could argue that is unnecessary to learn to to learn for later in life. Like, why would you need to know? Uh, I don't know, algebraic math if you're not never going to work with that, stuff like that. There are social studies, at least in Norway. There are social studies mandatory in both elementary and secondary school. Um, and Those do teach you a bit about like how what a CV is, how to write one, what taxes are. But and paying taxes isn't that big of a deal in Norway, at least, because the government or the state just calculates all that for you, takes it directly off your paycheck. There's nothing you really need to do there, unless there are some weird tax exempts that you have, or you have some weird income that somehow isn't registered by the state or something like that. But generally speaking, you really don't need to think that much about it. You just send in, um, you just register at every start of the year. You register on the tax authority's website. You register how much you think you're going to earn, how much in deductibles you uh, believe you think you're going to get, or you need to calculate the deductibles. You just say, okay, this is how much I have in loan. This is how much I have this many children. I have whatever, and then the state calculates the rest for you. All right. Well, let's continue.
But I know loads about Shakespeare's classics. I was never taught how to vote. They devoted that time to defining isotopes. I wasn't taught how to look after my health, but mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Never spent a lesson on current events. Instead, I studied the old American West.
You see, history is we kind of split on that, because the deal with history mainly is that we should learn about our past to not but both to learn how we got where we are, but also to learn to learn about the things we did wrong, so that we don't repeat those bad decisions. But I see where it's coming from. There is too little in school about current events. You don't see a history book from that mentions anything from last year. It's like the at the latest, it's like the past decade. Like for example, you have in Norway, you have this in 2011, 10 years ago now. In July, there was a terrorist attack in Norway, which is the only terrorist attack Norway has ever had of that size since, I guess, World War II. And I don't think it's that's prominent in any history book yet, even. And again, BOYINABAND is from England. He speaks about learning about the old American West. Yeah, we learned a lot about, like, well, not a lot, but we did learn about the American Civil War and the French Revolution and all that. Yeah, the French Revolution is kind of important to learn about because that's that laid the foundation for pretty much every democratic country after that. But still, why do we need to learn about all that? Why don't we learn about or why do we not learn about the current events, but we learn about everything that happens like centuries ago?
I was never taught what laws there are. I was never taught what laws there are. Let me repeat, I was not taught the laws for the country I live in. But I know how Henry VIII killed his women. Divorced, beheaded, died. Divorced, beheaded, survived. Glad that's in my head.
Okay. Well, I guess unless you go to law school, you're never really going to learn how to interpret law anyway. But yes, most of the law is common sense anyway, but which is fed to you somehow in the school system or some way. But it's or by your parents, I don't know. But yeah, the parents is a whole other ordeal. But yeah, learning about the law, yeah, that is kind of important because if I don't know what the law is, how am I going to how am I supposed to, I don't know, how am I supposed to know how to not get arrested? Like in Norway, we learned that the minimum age for criminal or for like legal liability and stuff like that. So we learned that if you're under 15 years of age, you're not going to get jailed per se. Your parents may get in trouble, and I guess the social services may get involved and stuff like that. But it doesn't you don't really learn about important law stuff. But yeah.
Instead of financial advice, I was shown the wavelengths of different hues of light, but I was never taught my human rights. Apparently there's 30. Do you know them?
Okay, so with the human rights, again, at least in Norway, we did learn about the human rights. The human rights themselves were in the curriculum. So in Norway, at least, we did learn about them in social studies. We did also learn about the international the UN children's rights, or yeah.
Why the hell can't we both recite them by rote? I know igneous, metamorphic and sedimentary rocks, yet I don't know squat about trading stocks or how money works at all. Where does it come from?
Yeah. Where does money come from? Trading stocks and all that. Yeah, well. That's a good question, but yeah, then again, having children, like putting children in an economics class, I don't know how much that's going to give them, but yeah, I see his point.
How does the thing that motivates the world function? Not taught to budget and disperse my earnings. I was too busy there rehearsing cursive, didn't learn how much.
Oh yeah, I wonder if cursive is still learned or taught in school. Yeah. So how did that work out for you, man? Everyone types on a keyboard now, like, or when you write by hand, you don't write cursive anymore, do you?
It costs to raise a kid and what an affidavit is, but I spent days on what the quadratic equation is. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. That's insane, that's absolutely insane. They made me learn that over basic first aid, or how to recognize the most deadly mental disorders or diseases with preventable causes, or how to buy a house with a mortgage if I could afford it, because abstract maths was deemed more important than advice that would literally save thousands of lives.
I guess. We were taught basic first aid in like elementary school, but it was never really maintained. We just had a class on it, and that was it. We had these dolls, or these really small sized dolls, I guess, that were designed for children. Uh, but yeah, no, I am a certified first responder with the Red Cross, with the Norwegian Red Cross. So I know a lot about first aid, and I know that there's a lot of first aid that should be learned in school that isn't taught in school, which is bad in my mind. And what did it say? Did it say anything about? Let's see here.
Causes, or how to buy a house with. That's absolutely insane. They made me learn that over basic first aid, or how to recognize the most deadly mental disorders or diseases with preventable causes.
Okay, yeah. Mental disorders. There should be a lot more focus on that in school, in my opinion. Again, I don't know how it is today. I graduated from high school in 2015. So there's a long time since I went in elementary school, which I guess this is mainly focused on. Well, lower and upper secondary as well, I guess. But yeah. It gives you a perspective. It does.
Or how to buy a house with a mortgage if I could afford it, because abstract maths was deemed more important than advice that would literally save thousands of lives. But it's cool, because now I could tell you if the number of unnecessary deaths caused by that choice was prime. Never taught present-day practical medicines, but I was told what the ancient Hippocratic method is. I've got a headache, the pain is ceaseless, what should I take? Maybe try some leeches? Could we discuss domestic abuse and get the facts, or how to help my depressed friend with a mental state? No, but learn mental maths, because you won't have a calculator with you every day. They say it's not the kid.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. I remember when my teachers told me that, like, yeah, no, you need to learn all this. You need to be able to calculate all this in your head, because if you don't, well, you're not going to carry your calculators around with you every day. And when I was in school, we did have, well, when I was in primary school, we did have um, we did have uh, cell phones, like ordinary old cell phones, the brick phones, I guess, that didn't have calculators on them. But um, I knew that, like, we have these cell phones now. Well, like in 10 years or so, we're probably going to have calculators that can fit in our pockets, aren't we? Uh, and fast forward 10 years, yeah, sure. iPhones and Androids and Blackberries and all that came out. Oh my god, yeah. Well, when I was in primary school, we did have PDAs as well, so I guess, and computers had calculators on them, and everyone used computers. So again, I don't know why that was the defense, but uh,
It's the parents are the problem. Then if you taught the kids to parent, that's the problem solved then.
facts. That is facts. Yeah. As I said earlier, parents is a whole other thing. There are a lot of people that have, or a lot of children, both that don't live with their parents at all, don't have any living parents, people or children that have sucky parents that either don't know what the fuck they're doing, or or they don't know. Well, they don't take good care of their children. So yeah, if you if you teach, and then again, school doesn't teach how to parent that well, at least. So yeah, and you don't have any parenting schools either, so, or mandatory parenting classes anyway. So yeah, parents when people become parents, they usually don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're just trying something like everyone else does when they're becoming independent adults. Uh, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm 25 and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing yet. So yeah.
All this advice about using a condom, but not for when you actually have a kid when you want one. I'm only fluent in this language for serious.
Yeah. Um, that's good. That's actually really good. Yeah. Why don't you? There's like sex ed is yeah, sex ed isn't really that good how it is now. It teaches you about like yeah, wear a condom or use protection, or it teaches you about all these STDs and stuff like that. But it doesn't teach you that much about all the other things that are related to sex, like uh, I don't know, basic emotion, human interaction, um, how to yeah, what you should think about when you get to that point where you actually want kids. They say all this shit about, yeah, uh, you need to protect yourself because if you don't, you're gonna get a child or an STD or whatever. But if you what if you're at a point where you want a child, then if you when you become 25, 26, years of age or whatever, and or 30, and you you're married or whatever, and you want a kid, um, you have nothing to fall back on to actually know what is important to keep in mind in that situation. Like you need to the only thing you have to fall back on is maybe your parents, if you have any parents, friends, if you have any friends that have children. But again, what are they supposed to fall back on, and what are their friends supposed to fall back? It's all fucked up, man.
The rest of the world speaks too. Do you think I'm an idiot? He chose the solo over
Wait, what did you say now?
the using a condom, but not for when you actually have a kid when you want one. I'm only fluent in this language, for serious. The rest of the world speaks too. Do you think I'm an idiot?
I guess I prove his point there. I'm Norwegian. I speak Norwegian and English, a bit of Spanish as well. The thing, yeah, and Hebrew and a bit of Russian. A teeny tiny bit of Russian, but yeah, the thing there is, yeah, I don't know exactly how it is in the English and American school systems, but what I'm guessing is that you don't introduce secondary languages early. Like in Norway, we introduce the English as a secondary language as early as I think third grade. Um, and when you're that young, it basically becomes your second primary language, I guess, your second mother tongue, um, and that is key, I think, because then you're young enough to where you're able to adapt much easier and learn much easier languages and stuff like that. We do have tertiary languages as well, which is mandatory in the Norwegian school system, which is introduced uh, in middle school or lower secondary school, I guess you could say, which is 8th to 10th grade. And then you have it also in high school, which is year 11 through year 13. So you have 6 years of Spanish, German, Russian, whatever the school offers. So yeah, and I can tell you that being introduced with a tertiary language at 16 or 15 years of age or whatever is too late. It's too late. I know how to introduce myself in Spanish. I know how to. I can listen to a conversation and understand what people are talking about, but I can't really make myself understood. Or I can't really keep a conversation going.
He chose the solo over the political system, so like a typical citizen now I don't know what I'm voting on, which policies exist or how to make.
Yeah. Well, that one is kind of difficult as well, but in Norway at least we do have um, mock voting, I guess, mock elections. So what we do in school, and that is nationwide. So what we do is, I think from lower secondary school up to high school. What we do is that how should I say it? Yeah, what we do is that we get these ballots, and we're basically voting for them. So we are introduced to the political system, from a quite early age, quite young age. We're introduced to the political system. We're introduced to the different parties, what they stand for, and so on and so forth. So we actually do get a chance in Norway to vote from an early age. And all these results are also actually sent in to the state. So the results from the I guess the school elections or the school mock elections are sent into to the state so that the political parties and the youth political parties or the youth organizations of the political parties, they can take a look at well, how do they actually rank in amongst the school kids, I guess, or amongst their audience, which is the youth. Oh, and yeah, they do have debates between the leaders of the youth parties or the youth organizations of the political parties, so that you actually have a chance to learn about what these people think and what their meanings are, what policies do they want to push through, and stuff like that, which is good. That's really great, actually.
Comme change mes weaves, je parle un peu de français. So at 18 I was expected to elect a representative for a system I had never ever been presented with. But I won't take it, I'll tell everyone my childhood was wasted. I'll share it everywhere how I was educated, and insist these pointless things don't stay in school.
If you can't explain why a subject is applicable to most people's lives, the subject should not be mandatory. Introduce those topics, yes, but we should choose if we want to learn more. Nobody should be forced to learn something that isn't practically useful. Okay, BOYINABAND really introduces this to the agenda, I guess. I understand what he's saying. Actually, well, really I do. It's really important to, I guess, understand that science, maths, all that, physics, all that is maybe not as practically useful for everyone or for the general population, actually. Because I guess the general population may be going to vocational school or something like that afterwards. And there they actually get a more vocational grip on what they're going to do. So yeah, I think you need a bigger emphasis on foundation and not so much emphasis on detail in certain topics. So have a broad foundation rather than have a small foundation and some certain topics you go in deeply into in primary and secondary school. Do that rather in college or vocational school that people go to after they're finished with their mandatory education, which is primary and secondary school. But yeah, BOYINABAND, he has a very good points, and it gives you something to think about. It does, yeah. All right, well that's it from a Norwegian's perspective. If you want to see more, comment down below, like this video, and subscribe because I will make more videos like this. comment what you want me to react to, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.